The concept of PAILs and RAILs is something that we'll use a lot in this program to help you improve your mobility. PAILs and RAILs are a type of isometric contraction. So an isometric contraction happens when you are clenching or contracting a muscle, but there's no movement anywhere. So right now I'm isometrically contracting my bicep as I'm flexing it, but my arm isn't actually moving anywhere. That's what an isometric contraction is. So in PAILs and RAILs, PAIL stands for progressive angular isometric loading, and RAIL stands for regressive angular isometric loading. But you don't really need to know what that means. You just need to know how to apply it, which I'm going to teach you in this video. I'm going to talk for a minute, but then we're going to quickly jump into an example that will help better explain it. So when we do PAILs and RAILs in this program, we're going to follow the format of you're going to hold a passive stretch for 2 minutes, and that is to kind of get your muscle to loosen up a little bit and get used to that and relax into that stretch. And then we are going to do 3 sets of PAILs and RAILs contractions back and forth. So you're going to do 10 seconds of a PAILs contraction, followed by 10 seconds of a RAILs contraction, immediately back to 10 seconds of a PAILs contraction, 10 seconds RAILs, 10 seconds PAILs, 10 seconds RAILs. So what does that mean? So in the case of your So what does that mean? You're going to get a muscle and its max stretch. I'm going to show you your hip flexor in a second. And then after you hold that for 2 minutes, you're then going to isometrically contract all of the muscles on the progressive side of the muscle. And then you're going to isometrically contract all of the muscles on the regressive side for 10 seconds. The example I'm going to show this to you with is going to be hip extension, because that's something a lot of postpartum women need to work on. It's something we'll do in this program, and it's kind of easy to see and to feel because everybody can feel their hip flexor stretch. So when you do a hip flexor stretch, I'm going to be stretching this hip flexor right now. You want to make sure you tuck your hips forward and that you're squeezing your glute. So right now I have a nice stretch going on in the front of my hip and my hip flexor here. For me, having my foot down low is a little bit easy. So if that feels easy or not a super great stretch, you can take it up to different levels. You can try to put your foot up on a little bit higher level. See if that helps the stretch. Again, tucking your hips, squeezing your glute. Feel a nice stretch here. If that's still too easy, you can try an even higher level with a chair or a bench or a couch or something. And you'll feel it there. Again, tucking the hips, squeezing the glutes. For me, I like to do this against the wall. I would not start against the wall, but this is kind of the final progression. Get your knee as close to the wall as possible, and then you back yourself up so you have a nice stretch. So if I were doing PAILs and RAILs in this position, again, hips are tucked, glute squeeze, I'm just going to hold this for 2 minutes until I feel that stretch kind of loosen up. So in the PAILs and RAILs videos, you can go ahead and pause the video and hold it for 2 minutes. I'm going to now walk you through the PAILs and RAILs portion of the contraction. So once you have held this stretch for 2 minutes, the PAILs contraction is going to be isometrically contracting the front of your quad and your hip flexor. So I'm doing that by pressing my foot into the wall, and you're going to slowly build up to like 50-75%. Eventually you can do 100%, but don't start there. So I'm pushing into the wall for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I'm going to isometrically contract the regressive muscles. So the hamstrings, the muscles on the opposite side. And I'm going to do that by trying to bring my heel closer to my butt. And you should feel the back of your leg muscles contract, and you should also feel an increase in that stretch here. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you're going to push your foot into the wall again for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, feeling that here. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then draw your heel towards your butt again for regressive, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then one more set into the wall, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then last regressive, heel towards butt, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's it. That's what your PAILs and RAILs are going to be like. They're going to be a 2-minute passive stretch followed by those 10 seconds PAILs, 10 seconds RAILs, back and forth for 3 sets. Now, one thing I want to clarify when it comes to PAILs and RAILs is that, so I said that this position is kind of easy for me. So if I were doing my stretch here and then it was time for me to do my PAILs contraction, so pushing my foot into the floor for my 10 seconds, this feels okay. But then if it were time for me to do the opposite, the regressive portion, and I'm able to lift my leg up this high, I feel a good muscle contraction here, but do you see how high I'm able to lift my foot? That's a good sign that you weren't in the right range for you. That means you have a more stretch than just using the floor. So if you do this and you find that when you do the regressive portion, you can suddenly lift your leg way up high, that means you should be on a higher surface. Maybe here. See, I can't lift it quite as high, or even from a chair. Now, if I were doing regressive, see, I can't lift it quite as high. So pay attention to that when you're doing your PAILs and RAILs, and make sure you're at an appropriate range for what your muscle stretch length is. You are not trying to match whatever I am doing in the video or someone else is doing the video. You are trying to reach your own stretch potential.